Welcome back. Today's target is I can write algebraic equations from verbal sentences and problem situations. So essentially you're going to be presented with a problem in words, and you are going to be asked to convert that to some mathematical symbols. So a couple things first. Let's read about what this is. An equation is a mathematical sentence containing two expressions separated by an equal sign, and it's an important skill in algebra to be able to do this using equations, to take words to equations, because you're going to be presented, math in real life isn't going to be laid out for you. It's going to be in a problem that you have to determine what variables and numbers and operations to perform. So let's get right into it. We are going to have words that describe a situation. We want to pull out only the most important words that we need. You're going to be asked to define a variable. That means to assign a letter to our unknown quantity that we're looking for, and then to write an equation translating the verbal into an algebraic equation. So we're going to write a sentence to describe the winning team of 27 seconds was 2 seconds shorter than Tina's. There's no question here, notice. We know the winning team of 27 seconds was 2 seconds shorter than Tina's. So we know the winning team is at 27 seconds. So we don't need to find that. What we need to find is Tina's team. Was is a past tense of is, which hopefully we know is a good word to describe equals. So right now we have 27 was, then it says 2 seconds shorter than Tina's. Shorter than is a subtraction word. But does that mean 2 minus Tina's team was 27? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Rather, Tina's team minus 2, so 2 less, would be 27. Try another one. A drop of 4 degrees per hour for the last several hours resulted in a total temperature change of negative 24. Find your keywords. So I see a drop of 4 degrees. That sounds like negative 4. Per hour, meaning if it happened for 1 hour, it'd be negative 4. 2 hours, negative 8. 3 hours, negative 12. That sounds like repeated addition or multiplication. And then it says for the last several hours resulted in a total. That seems like something happened and we got equal to a temperature change of negative 24. So here I write, well, if the temperature is dropping negative 4 degrees every hour and I end up at negative 24, I can find out how many hours it dropped for. So this would be my equation. On to the next page. We are going to be asked to define a variable, so decide what are we looking for, then write an equation to represent the situation. Kevin's score of 20 points was 4 times Corey's score. So it tells us Kevin's score of 20 was 4 times Corey's score. So right now it looks like we have 20. We have our equals, we have 4 times. The only thing we don't know is Corey's score. So I'm going to represent that with C. So my equation here then could be 20 was 4 times Corey's score. That was me defining the variable. How about on the bottom? The total was $28 after a $4 tip was added to the bill. So let's see what my important information is. The total was 28 after a tip of 4 was added to the bill. So I have a total of 28 and I have a 4 that was added to, it looks like this bill, but it doesn't tell me how much the bill was. So I'm going to say B is my variable for bill. This would me be defining that variable. B represents the bill. So then I'd say, okay, I'm going out to eat, I start with a certain bill, however much I bought, then I added a $4 tip, and I ended up paying $28. Notice how I'm talking it through, not just because I'm making a video, but because it helps me read it back to myself and see if it makes sense. You should do the same. A couple more, you can try these and come back if you want. So again, we're being asked to define the variable, find what we're looking for, then write an equation that could be used to solve. So, a submarine dove 75 feet below its original depth. If the submarine's new depth is negative 600 feet, what was the original depth? The nice thing about this question is it says what was. So it tells us that we're looking for the original depth. So I'm going to say D represents the original depth. What I know about the original depth is that obviously that's my starting point. So I'm going to say original depth and then what happened with my submarine. So my submarine, from its original depth, dove 75 feet below. Well, that's a negative 75. So I could write this as, from the original, I went down 75, or I could say I'm adding a negative 75 deficit. If its new depth is, meaning equals, that means after I dove, I ended up at negative 600. So either one of these equations would work, because it tells me from the original depth, I went down 75, and I ended up at negative 600. All right, another one. The total time given to take a state test is equally divided among the 3 subjects tested. If the time given for each subject test is 45 minutes, how many minutes long is the entire test? That is a lot of words, so I'm going to go through it slowly. The total time given to take a state test is equally divided among the 3 subjects tested. So total time given is equally divided among 3. That seems important. If the time given for each subject is 45, how many minutes is the entire test? So notice how entire test and total test, they kind of mean the same thing. It looks like we're looking for the entire test or the total time. So I'm going to make that defining variable. I'm looking for the total time of the test. And it looks like we're looking for it in minutes. Well, I do know that the total time of the test was equally divided among 3. And each of those 3 subjects is, which is a good equal sign, 45 minutes. So this says the total time divided by 3 tests gives you 45 minutes per test. Your notes page ends, but I do suggest maybe pausing on this screen and giving a couple of these a try, and we could look at these in class, giving a couple of these a try and doing those even though you don't have the notes sheet. So you could pause me here and give them a try on your own. Javier is 4 years younger than his sister Rita. Given J, Javier's age, which equation can be used to find R, Rita's age? So the only information we're given is really right here, and then they tell us what variables to use later. So it looks like we're finding Rita's age. So something happens to each one here. So we're going to be looking for both of these. We don't know either one. So Javier is 4 years younger than. Younger than really means less than. Well, 4 years less is represented by minus 4. Remember, subtraction isn't reversible. We can't say this is 4 less, because that's something less than 4. So Javier is, notice that, so we have Javier is 4 years less, remember we can't write left to right with subtraction, less than Rita. So our answer would be C. Okay, this one asks us to define the variable, then write the equation. So after dropping 12 degrees Celsius, dropping would be a negative 12, the temperature outside was negative 5 degrees. So the thing we're looking for is what the temperature outside is or had been. So it's the temperature, then dropping 12 is equal to negative 5. All right, hopefully you can get a little bit out of that. Think about some words when you're reading these and really realizing equal sign is probably the easiest one to find, and then making sure you reread it so you know if it's subtraction, addition, multiplication, or division. Good luck. See you soon.